like I titled it as a Dark Knight progression.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really what it is. That's just what my name is, or what my main is right now. Like
What
my
your name
strongest
is.
character. What my main is, yeah.
That'd be confusing. You name
Uh,
your character Dark Knight and then you're something else completely. Okay, and but there might be
well,
a shift with the Hyperburn. You mean?
yeah, so when the Hyperburn comes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna be pretty much focusing on that. And the
Yep.
Dark Knight, for now, I'm just gonna use him as a boss mule. And so right now, I can kill up to Lomian, um, and kill like normal Lucid in a party.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm close to pushing further on the Dark Knight, so at some point I might revisit that and try and get it to kill some hard bosses. Like I want to solo Hard Lotus
Mm-hmm.
and then contribute to some parties
For sure. I mean, there
and
are.
stuff. But
We're getting a lot more of those like selector symbols and all that stuff, right? You can keep doing Monster Park and things like that. You're like slowly and steadily get up to 250 without really having to hardcore grind on the character.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then, I
because
mean,
the gear's
like,
already like not bad.
yeah, and like my hero and my marksman, right? They're still 250, but they can, like my hero soloed hard Vihela, right? At
Yeah,
250.
I
Like
saw that video. I
yeah.
couldn't believe you did that at 250.
I mean, the gear is basically what most people don't even have yet at 270. So,
Yeah, it was like 47k stat, right? So.
yeah, 47 to 48. Yeah, and the marksman is now at 50. So technically, marksman probably mathematically should be pretty close too.
Yeah, but
so
heroes a big.
and
Actually,
but event buffs are quite massive now. You know, you throw guild skills in.
yeah, yeah. Oh, and I guess Marksman got buffed.
Hmm.
Well, so yeah, so I'm a seasonal player, so
I can see.
it's
Okay.
my first time playing since like I think it was a year. Whenever the Explorer rework was when I played a bit.
Yeah, there was Destiny 2 big updates ago, so that was pretty much a year. Yeah, tomorrow
Yeah,
tomorrow
like
it'll be a
last
year
summer,
pretty
yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, I came back for the Hyperburn,
Mhm.
but I wasn't really feeling like playing, so I didn't even make it to level 200. I just wasn't having fun, so I just quit.
I see.
But
good.
right now, I feel like playing, so I'm gonna invest some time into this event for sure.
Okay. So,
Anyway,
yeah.
For the other stuff that's in the album,
Mhm.
there's 4 other characters.
4. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
didn't put a ton of info. I just put like the highlights.
Sure.
Except for the Kanna, I did put most of the stuff because
Mhm.
that one's got more highlights to put.
Okay.
Those characters, I want them all to kill Enlomian. So I have like 4 Enlomian boss mules there.
Okay.
But right now, the Kanna, I did do a practice normal Lotus yesterday. I didn't think I could actually clear, but then I cleared in 22 minutes. But it's on practice mode, so I didn't get any drops. But
Well, you stuck with it. 22 minutes is a decent time for a run.
yeah, but I feel like it's so. A big reason why I wanted to do this coaching is because
Mhm.
I feel like my characters are weaker than they should be.
Okay.
For the gear level.
Sure.
And I'm guessing it's because of like nodes lacking and Legion maybe,
Mhm.
you know, some things like that. But like for example, my Kanna has 20k stat,
Mhm.
and yet it can barely clear
Yeah.
Lotus.
Well, if I had to
But I
guess,
see
it's probably going to be
like 12k.
yeah. It's usually going to be a little bit of everything. So it's probably not just one thing that's like going horribly wrong. It could be, but the further you get into the game, the more it's probably going to be just an overall cohort of stuff that's all stacking and multiplicatively impacting each other. That is making it so that eventually you're just like doing 1/3 of the damage of someone.
Yeah.
Well, so could be you could be running in with like 20% IED and then it'd be pretty easy to fix, right? But it's probably not that because I'm guessing if you see the content a bit.
For my Kanna, I had a big ID problem, but what I did was, so my Kanna was a farmer, like one of the old farmer Kannas.
Yep.
So I just got it to 230, and then I got like the Mesa drop gear, and I was farming in Arcana, and it's 239 right now. I got it there without using any XP coupons because back then you'd suicide at 247, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't want to level it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm done farming with that. So I just rerolled all the Meso drop stuff into main stat now.
Yep.
Because I don't think I'm ever going to farm on it again.
Mm-hmm.
So then, unfortunately, some decisions that were made when it was a farmer don't work out so well. Like, for example, back then, I thought it would be a smart idea because I was low on funding to do double 3-set Golics. Because it's on the old Golics.
Yeah.
So I got Golic super easy, but I did 3-set Reinforced, 3-set Superior, so I don't have 4-set Golics.
Yeah.
So I'm missing out on 30 boss, 30 ID.
Yeah, that's why you have the weapon that it is now, right?
Yeah, so what I did was, I had some extra Lotus stuff, so I just bought a weapon, Abso weapon, and then I just cubed it, and I happened to hit that.
Yep.
So that just fixed my ID, but then obviously now I'm missing like magic attack and stuff.
Yeah. Well, the goal is there to just see if you can get to the 4-set Golics, and then you can reroll your weapon. Then you have more potential outs for more raw damage for your main weapon.
Yeah. Well, and then yesterday I did farm a few fams and put it on there. So I got 2 ID fams.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool.
So that should help a little bit. So yeah, I mean, like, when I was doing that Lotus run, I changed up my Legion a bit too. I got to 5.5k, and I put it onto boss damage, crit chance, and crit damage. Just like a little bit of crit chance, because I'm lacking crit chance too, but because I wanted to get crit chance in that IA, but I got attack speed instead. I think attack speed is useful for Kanna, if I remember.
I think there is some endgame play stuff where technically for some animations it slightly makes a difference. But if it's going to be a bossy mule, I don't believe people will ever really go for that.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe I'll just reroll it then, eventually.
Yeah, in your situation, if you want to reroll it, then you'd have to reroll your unique boss damage as well, right? Because otherwise you can't get it on the top line, or you'd have to, all the other top lines that you would get wouldn't help you as much. That would kind of suck.
Yeah.
So
like, yeah, for now I just have to put crit rate in my Legion to fix the crit rate.
Yeah, so compared to this Legion setup that I see, so you have a little bit of the overflow on the bottom of the IED that's going horizontal, or you taking a little bit?
Yeah, but I gained a lot more because you see I'm almost 5.5k, so I got five extra members. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So like I can almost fill out a whole third one now.
Okay. Yeah, and then at 6k you go back to consolidating because then you get the final grid.
I had a level 200 character like SS block that I wasn't even putting on there.
Okay.
Because I must like recently leveled that or whatever.
Well, yeah, when you're working on so much, sometimes it's tough to keep track of everything.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm gonna go for 6k soon because I mean like just with the hyper burn that'll almost because I have 3 characters that I haven't like I'm only 39 characters and they made it 42 now, so it'd be super easy to get 6k.
Kali and the hyper burn and then another character, 6k's. And 8k is way more free as well, right? Because it's basically not everyone has to be 200. You can have a bunch of like 180s and stuff with growth potions eventually. Yeah. And then a few 210s and a few characters that are higher level like hyper burns, and then 8k is very doable there as well.
So yeah, with all the other 3 characters, they have a little bit of gear. So I just wanted your opinion on like how you think I should progress them to get the normal Lotus, normal Damien, like the cheapest way possible, basically. Maybe not the absolute cheapest, because I don't like. I know what your strategy sometimes is to like sit there and like max out all the symbols and stuff, and
I don't do that, by the way. I don't max out symbols.
Well, I remember back in the day, like you had like a cannoneer.
Oh, sorry.
Was like
symbols. Yeah, sorry. I thought you meant notes.
Symbols.
Yeah, I don't do that anymore. Not for boss mules, but for those. Well, that's because those weren't boss mules. So that's why when people are asking like how many boss mules do I have, that's why I always give people the runaround and give the weird long answer. It's because those characters aren't boss mules, and they never were intended to be boss mules. Because if they were, I would have funded them differently, and that's a very important distinction. If my if my hero was supposed to be a boss mule, he would never be 47k stat now, right? It's because I enjoy the character more, and I want it to be able to do more content that I know it can do around its level. But like my Buccaneer, for example, is never going to, at least I don't think is ever going to go that far. That one is probably going to go towards like 20, it's now like around 24k stat or something. It's probably going to end up at like 27 or something, maybe max. And that's probably where it's going to sit until I determine the other characters are kind of done, and I like this character enough to push it further as well. So the strategy I have now for the symbols, but we could talk in general. So the Dark Knight is going to be slightly paused. It's going to be slowly progressing towards 250 and then possibly stronger bosses. Most of the time is going to go towards the Hyperburn that's coming, which is going to be which character?
Blaster.
Blaster, nice. The only right right option.
Yeah.
And the other ones here in this list all want to be bossing mules that can do hard lotus, normal lotus, normal Damien comfortably, and all the bosses below roughly in like half an hour.
Yeah, I'd say like 10-minute lotus run, something like that, or less even.
Yeah, I think if you want to be able to do hard lotus, hard Damien, and all things below in like roughly half an hour, I think you want to get close-ish to the point where you can do lotus and Damien combined. I think at most in like 11 to 12 minutes.
I mean, that would be amazing, but like,
yeah,
that's like.
You could start slower, of course, right? I'm very much a proponent of just
that
like,
might be difficult.
Yeah, getting some baseline funding in, and then seeing how long it takes, and then moving from there. Like, okay, what kind of resource do I have, and then throwing a little bit of that onto the character and seeing if it improves, and then just gradually improve it. But power creep and all that stuff, like it's eventually going to get stronger. So there are some general things at play here that I would say if you are trying to actively work on a lot of characters at once, there are definitely a few things that I think scale up towards multiple character. One thing, of course, being Legion, right? That helps you fund all of your characters at once, plus higher level link skills, all of that stuff. The other thing, and this comes more specifically towards funding bossing mules, I think you get great value out of course, out of a superior Golic set, but that tends to take a long, long time. And I think reinforced...
I'm not gonna do that.
I think reinforced Golic set gets kind of overlooked. Reinforced is way easier and way faster to get, and is almost as good. So if you get...
Oh, but I do have... Sorry to interrupt, but I have a Demon Slayer near the bottom, or at the bottom.
Yeah, 208, yeah.
That's my old main, like my very first main. So he has a badge, and he has 3-set superior. Yeah. But the belt's reinforced.
Yeah, then
reinforced. So,
right. If you have 3 set, then I would go for the 4th. But you also only need the drop, right? So you can just join people if they're like, if someone has a drop.
Yeah, I mean,
available.
I can trade because I'm done with Golics on Dark Knight. On the Dark Knight, I have like 1 belt backup and like 2 earrings.
Okay, that's pretty.
But I don't even know. I don't even know if I would even want to. Like, I did.
Probably not.
On last year on Shining, I had leftover like 5 bill, so I threw it at the belt. And like nothing happened, but yeah.
Ups and downs. Yeah, so I would look at those. Yeah, so Golics, and if a character is really close to Superior, and probably the same with the Kanna, right? Like if the Kanna's already 3 set, you want to get that 4th set in there. But if they're not started yet, or they're like at the very beginning, I would say consider Reinforced Golics as one of the levels of funding. And then the second one would definitely be IED Familiars. Even if the character has decently high IED, just stack more IED Familiars, because you're getting nothing else from Familiars at that point. They're easy to get, and it's just free damage. The third thing I would say is, in general, so for dailies, what I tend to do on characters is I do dailies until it takes more than a week to level them. So I end up with something around, well, this one is a bad example because I think this one has...
Like level
nothing, yeah. 2 or 3 or 1. I think you end up at something like, if I remember correctly, something like 13, 13, 11, 11, 10, 10, something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty doable.
For the current rates. Of course, with the upcoming, I think it would make more sense to definitely, on all the characters that you want to boss mill, definitely get the weeklies done. And then if you have spare time or you want some extra EXP on some characters, then do the regular... the dailies with the gathering and the monster killing as well, but definitely get those weeklies done on all those characters every week, because that's going to be, for most of them, is going to be like 45 symbols per area, right, for the first few areas. So that's going to go real quick and very little time. That's going to be very efficient. And then how many is that? 1, 2, 3. Was that the 4th thing? I don't know. Whatever the next N+1 thing. I think what gets overlooked is being in a guild and getting access to guild skills. This is a huge amount of funding that means that your characters have to get way less money spent on them to be able to access more damage. And I think you should be able to, if you're working on it, I clicked something, basically working with your main character to get some footing in a guild where you can get some access to stuff and make sure that you put in the best effort you can, and to make sure that with your side characters you can free some space up for them, maybe not even main guild, but maybe in like a side guild where everyone is trying to, you know, everyone has boss mules at this point, right? Everyone's got 4 or something, so if there's 40 active people in the main guild, that means there's 160 boss mules somewhere. Throw those all in the same guild and also do your flag and your culvert there, because it's so just so much
I did
base
join
funding.
a guild yesterday. I was in a guild before, but that guild kind of got too big, so I don't belong there anymore.
Okay.
I don't know if you know the guild Mizu.
Mizu? I think I heard of that one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked it up. They're like top 4 now.
Okay.
And it's mostly like 270s and stuff, so yeah.
Left you behind.
Anyway, so yeah. So I joined a different guild.
What's with all the defame, by the way? Is that thing you collect?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
I'm a hacker. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. My friends used to, like, we used to defame each other.
I see.
It's a joke.
Well, that's good. You have a lot of friends.
If I was a hacker, I wouldn't be level 230.
Yeah, you'd be way higher level. You'd
Yeah.
be one of those bots in level 284 in Odium right now that are just blatantly botting over there and not giving a damn. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if you're trying to join a guild, sometimes people will ask about that. You know?
Yeah, they didn't actually question me on that one, but
Okay.
that's surprising.
I mean, we're kind of past the point where fame really means that much. But I mean, if you see like minus 17, if it's like minus 200, then it's just like, oh yeah, you're just collecting defame. That's just whatever. But if it's, god damn it.
Yeah.
But if it's yeah, and if you have a few hundred, then it's cool too. But there might be people with like 0 fame at level 270 or something, and no one will say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be things, right? I think that gives you a lot of solid base foundational damage, and that can also help people get away with well, and then there's nodes probably, right? Like nodes to the extent that a character needs nodes.
That's a big thing, I think. Well, it depends on the character. So like, so my Kanna is kind of in a weird spot. I need to fix the nodes on my Kanna because I had some really scuffed nodes to try and just like do, like, I was trying to do the most on, because I wanted to max a bunch of different skills on a budget, like without spending too many nodes, because just a farmer. But now I don't need, like, for example, like Yosuzume, like it's not that important. Like,
yeah, you want to take those out for skill nodes instead. Yeah.
So I got to try and figure out the nodes. But like my Demon Slayer, for example, has like absolutely 0 nodes. So that guy needs nodes, and then like my heroes nodes are just okay. Like I have the trios, but they're only like level 12, level 14. So I need a lot of nodes.
Yeah, so that's like the general things to consider, right? You've got the because I mean you said like in the beginning, you know, that the Kanna has 20k stat, but then why does it take so long? And it's just because stat is just not the only number that matters, right? Sadly, one thing is just that Kanna is, thank God, finally made more of a support. So solo bossing is just going to take a bit more time, but it also means that you might have to fund that one a little bit harder than the other ones to make it a bossing mule. It has the level, but it also has the gear now. It can definitely get to Lotus and Damien. It's probably not going to get past that. It's like a really big jump, right, for a support. You pretty much only just want to do those in parties. But the other characters might be able to jump past that, especially if you're going to get up to 250 with the Dark Knight and do stuff like normal slime and maybe even easy lucid, or even normal lucid solo. Like that'll be possible most likely.
I already do normal slime, so.
Okay, yeah. See, that's still doable. But if you're gonna do that, I mean, if 22-minute Lotus, then slime is probably not even gonna happen. Not in current setup.
So the Dark Knight is like a 15-minute slime, and then I tested my BA. I set up like a full like hard lucid BA, and I did 1.5 trill. So it's like getting there towards like hard lucid already, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, numbers are old for me.
2.5 is like the bare minimum, but people probably want overkill these days, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it depends a
What do
little bit
you
on the
want me to
class, but I think like 2 to 2.5 is probably good if you're more DPM heavy. If you're super burst heavy, then you probably want to get closer to 3. Like
Yeah,
if you're a
which
Night Lord or
Dark Knight
something.
is not. So
No, you've got your Hurricane. What's it called? Caladimus
Cyclone. Yeah.
Cyclone. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
is pretty
Cyclone's
big.
decent,
But apart from that,
it's a
it's
pretty
mostly DPM, right?
deep DPM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you're dying and then just standing in the dragon and just spearing it down.
Yeah.
So ignoring the giant green beam of light. Yeah, so we can. So that's like the general advice, like for all of them, on like where to go and how far to push. I guess I was hoping to stay logged in on a character, kind of in terms of that, but that's not.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, I guess the first thing would be the Kanna. What do you think I should do with that?
Yeah, we can look one character at a time. So the
So
Kanna.
the potentials on that, some of them are still like pretty messed up because I didn't want to spend a ton of cubes when I was re-rolling off the old Meso ones. And also the hat's disgusting. Don't look at it.
Well, I'm gonna look at everything. Definitely now that you mentioned. So first of all, like stat window, that looks fine. But yeah, we know where the ID is coming from. There might be some event ID in there as well right now.
When I took the screenshot, I think no.
Okay. And
Like,
but you
I
also
don't
didn't
even
have
think I
FAMs here,
leveled
right?
it up.
So even if you did, that would kind of counteract each other.
So yeah. So but that was with the Legion ID. But then I went away from that into the boss because I already had like 94, so I put some of it into or wait, what's that with the hang on. No,
yeah.
that was not with the Legion ID because that was with the crit rate. Yeah, never mind. Okay, anyway.
Yeah,
I'd like
because you already
93.
switched to crit. Yeah, because Kanna has no additional ID except for maybe the Mage Link skill and your own nodes. Like you basically want to go pretty high on the visual. So even 94 or even 95 is probably fine if you're gonna do a Lotus Damien and below. Because for those, it's just very important that your damage goes through, and the ones that are lower. I mean, if you're setting yourself up for funding for Lotus and Damien, then everything below that is just going to be damage-wise, just going to be easy. It's just a matter of just nuking it.
So I already have 40 on the emblem, so I think if I could get the 4-sec Golix, what do you think I should go for in the weapon pot? Like 1 line or 0 line?
So ideally, people end up with 0 line, but I think for a boss mule, it's totally legit to have at least 2 lines of ID in your WSE. I have characters with 3, and even one with 4, I think. Even though I have like full Legion and everything, because it ended up being an item that has 3 useful lines. And if it's 3 useful lines and that third one ends up being an IED, then I'll take that over 2 lines of magic. I'd rather have like IED and 2 lines of boss than to have 2 lines of magic attack and nothing.
But yeah, I mean, right now, I need to recube it. You think, right? Like
yeah, but I would wait until we get
now,
the Superior Golix set, and then probably aim for any combination. If you get like 1 magic attack, 1 boss, 1 ID, I'll probably keep that. If you get 2 magic attack, probably keep that over this one. But yeah, because it's 2 IED. But if it's like 1 boss, 1 ID magic attack would be like the weakest, quote unquote, to keep, and then anything more boss or more attack. But you really want to look at that visual ID for Kanna because you can pretty much go off of that for your functional. So as long as it's like around a 93 to 94, like around that mark, then you're good. I wouldn't go as low as like as soon as you go like low 90s, then you're already missing out on some damage there.
The other thing is, do you think I should get Abso on all these characters?
So it's a good idea to do so, honestly, in terms of funding if you're not near that yet. So my characters, none of them really have Abso. 1 or 2 characters might have one piece, and I have some fake Absos. But it's mostly because my characters were already kind of close to the funding that a full Abso would give them in the first place. And didn't want to spend all the extra money to get like barely an upgrade. Like if you have really good Tyrant stuff, for example, then it doesn't make much sense to move into Abso. But if they're definitely 1 step below that, then it definitely makes sense to move straight to Abso and kind of bypass Tyrants.
You just reminded me of something when you said fake Abso. Okay, well, yeah, sorry, we're jumping around a little bit, but on the hero, I put, if you remember the fake Arcane that we got that one time?
Yep.
I don't know if we had got that before, but anyway, I put that onto the hero because I already had a fully done Abso on my Dark Knight.
Yep.
So I didn't think it was going to be a significant upgrade. But on the hero at the time, the meta was one-handed.
Yep.
So I took one-handed, but now I guess the meta is two-handed. So do you think I should obviously just stick with that, right? Like, because it's an arcane, don't you think?
For boss mule, yeah.
Or,
There's two things. Like for boss mule, it's good enough, right? Even as a Figzo or Abzo, I think it's good enough for boss mule. So arcane definitely will be. And you have attack speed +1, so that also means that you don't have to go decent decent speed infusion in the matrix. So you can move over. You can move that over for something else, right?
oh wait, I didn't include it in the picture, the fake arcane.
Right here. Right?
Oh well.
Here.
Uh,
Yeah, not the stats, but I know the stats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the
Oh,
flame,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I know everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a T6, T7 attack flame, something like that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, that's fine. Wait, okay,
and
I
then
want to do.
I did also.
one at a time, rather.
Okay, yeah.
Jump
Okay.
around just to make sure that we have, because you have like general advice and not specific advice for the character, and then if you have like follow-up questions on the character before we move on to another one, definitely ask. But I want to make sure that we don't miss over anything by jumping around too much, because then we might be an hour and 25 minutes in, and then nothing was really nothing was really finished yet.
Okay, no more jumping around.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
focusing on the Kanna. All right.
Yes. So yeah, the interoperability is something that you might want to look at, right? But I think, honestly, messing around with that so much at this point when you're... there's probably others... The amount of damage that's going to come from that is going to be very minimal compared to all the other stuff and like optimizing the stuff that you already have. So I would just kind of leave that for now and kind of leave that as something that you might want to min-max later on if you've been bossing on it for a while, because then you'll have more honor experience and then you can actually have options. So I would kind of leave the IA there for now. Look at the pieces by themselves. They got some 17 stars. You didn't go any event rings on this one. Okay. Typically people go event rings on Kanna, right? Because of the extra bonus from the HP and the MP for the scaling.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I made his character, they weren't as common.
Yeah, because there just wasn't an event around at that time. Yeah.
And there was easy Golics too, so yeah, just made sense to me.
Yeah, it's more of a timing whether you end up with something. You have double Meso Pendant, which, you know, obviously you just hold on to that. You could, when it comes to a damaging pendant, though, it doesn't do much, right? Yeah.
I just kept it because the double Meso had
int,
a line of int too, so it's like
and it's
kind of
17
hard
star.
to reroll that.
Yeah, no, it should be good enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can get a star during a 5-10. I mean, you can finish the superiors up to 17, right? But that's just waiting for an event, probably waiting for shining on that.
But I've realized, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that star forcing is so much more important than cubing now. Because like for my Dark Knight, a lot of the Dark Knight's gear is like 3-lined. But it's just, it doesn't feel that strong. I feel like getting like 21 stars is just so much better than 3-line.
Oh, definitely, yeah. This is because, but in the past, the max amount of star force you could get was 15, and basically it was just all about potential. Potential was how you gained like insane amounts of damage. But once plus 15 opened up and weapon attack was added onto the stars, like the stars from like 15 to 17, those combined could have like a roughly the same flame score as like 2.5 of your lines of your potential. So you can go super hard on potential early, but it just doesn't make much sense. For the reason that money-wise, star forcing is more efficient early on, especially if you can safeguard, you have the money. Plus, at the same time, it also makes sense if these items are going to transfer hammer in some way and then roll over the potential, and then you guys have to redo it. So it just makes much more sense early on to make sure that your potential's on point first. And then, you know, the other thing is also like Meso drops from bosses, and if you're, you know, making a boss mule, you make money, but you want that money to go towards your main character. But you do get resources in the forms of cubes that don't go to your main character anymore because they can't help over there anymore because of the potential is already good. So those cubes can keep re-rolling your existing potential on the characters as well, and steadily over time improve them. So that's why it makes more sense in the beginning to get that Star Force at the right amount, and then potential will kind of, you know, it'll come by itself, or you can even keep things epic or unique, and that's good enough.
Yeah, my plan for the Hyperburn, because of what I've kind of realized on my own, is just like, I'm just going to keep everything epic, unique, not even bother getting, except maybe like, you know, gloves, get that to legendary, WSC, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more
Uh,
WC
and then
now,
just
and then accessories, right, to get your drop and your mezzo, and then it's just all about backups and star forcing, and then once your stuff is just waiting months and months for the next upgrade, that's when the potentialing comes in, essentially.
but yeah, I'm assuming we're gonna get shining. So I mean, it's not
Yeah,
announced yet, I
that
guess.
was confirmed. Yeah,
But okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna hard save for shining, and then probably, you know, try to go hard on Star Force on the Hyperburn,
yeah, it's
and
yeah
maybe
for that
some of
one.
these characters too.
Yeah, but it's exactly. It's a good idea to have like a list of things that you definitely want to work on, and I probably want to get the boss mules, especially because they're already so close, done first, so to make sure that they can start capitalizing on that immediately and make you that money every week, and then that money can
Okay.
go back to the hyperburn, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So
yeah.
for the Kanna, what specific upgrades do you think I should make,
Yeah,
if
I
any?
mean, yeah, so star forcing here, I'll just get these guys up to 17, but all of the potentials added up together is already a whole lot of int, so that should be totally fine. You want to get the weapon to 17 as well, and with Savior, you won't have the safeguard up to 15 anymore. It'll be a bit pricey, it'll be a little bit scary to see the numbers on how much it's costing per star, but it doesn't drop anymore and it doesn't boom anymore, so that's great. If you think you're ever going to be short from money, just get those guaranteed 16s, and then you can always circle back and try to make some 17s, right? Get those guaranteed gains. But yeah, force that superior, and then yeah, probably get these accessories to 17 as well. I don't think you have any crazy bad flames or anything like that. Flames is another thing where you just kind of slowly just make some from bossing over time. You basically have just from bossing and event shop, so you don't really want to spend active money on that. The only ones I would spend money on is probably the weapon to get a good flame there. But for the other ones, you just kind of just everything you get over time, you just slowly bring things up evenly, and it'll just slightly speed things up in terms of doing the weekly bosses rather than because if you ruin one item's flame, you don't really notice the difference right across the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get any flame drops anymore from bosses. Is that like gone?
It's just it's not affected by drop rate anymore, so it's just
Oh,
depends on the difficulty of the boss. So if you're mostly doing
'cause I
Lotus
just
Damien and below, you barely see them. Yeah.
yeah, I remember like back in the day, it used to like spit out
Yeah,
flames all the time. Yeah, kind of a shame.
Like every weekly was like guaranteed two flames, and I was even doing hard Von Leon daily because he was almost always dropping an eternal as well. There were definitely other times, yeah, but then they copied over the KMS rates, and then they basically just killed it. Like there are weeks
Yeah.
I do like Chaos Tenebris and everything below on my arc solo, and there'll be like weeks that I get like a total of 3 or 4 flames from that character, and it's like, yeah, that's it's not really anything to write home about. That's why I say
Yeah.
it's mostly events and and buy for the weapon, but most of it, the rest is you don't really buy flames until you're like 21 arcanes and 22 everything else, and you're kind of just like waiting for arcane backups kind of thing, and then you can start spending a whole bunch of money on flames essentially. Other than that, weapon and nothing else. Yeah, so I guess the reinforced Gollux, is that the earring you still need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
just a drop. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a drop. So that's more of a RNG. 700 coins you can get it, but if you're lucky, then you can get it before that. Yeah, since you're so close to the set and the shoe isn't crazy, I would probably go for the. Did you have the cape? Did you use the Tyrant cape or?
Yeah. Did I
It's
not
down
add
here.
it
Yeah,
in?
yeah, it's down here. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since they're like.
Oh yeah, I on DMT I made that Tyrant Cape legendary a long time ago.
Yeah, I would probably switch the
But
shoe
it's-
out for the set bonus, but whether you switch the cape as well to Abzo or you keep this cape is probably not that big of an upgrade. So I'd be okay keeping the cape, but I'd probably switch the shoe to an Abzo shoe and upgrade that one. Potential on the fan is fine. Hard for now is fine.
Yeah, I gotta get I may as well keep that to get some kind of stat. But.
So for the glove, you probably want to get the Abzo, and then I think a good aim for Kanna, especially because of the node situation, could be to see if you can get 8% crit damage and decent sharp eyes combined. That would be really cool if you can get that. That way it eats up a matrix slot as well, because you have plenty of things to throw in there. But otherwise, equip wise, and the symbols are pretty good as well. There's definitely work on those last 4, but definitely those last 2 symbols, right? The first
Yeah,
two
once I
are
got
probably fine.
540,
Mm-hmm.
once I got 540, I completely stopped because
Yeah.
that was all I needed at the time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I got to do more on that.
Yeah, that's something you'll have to see for yourself if you're okay with like doing actual dailies on like 1 or 2 characters, and then and then as those are done, then move on to the next ones, or you're more like I'm just doing weeklies and then seeing where that goes in terms of a time commitment and whether you even like playing the characters or not, and balancing your time with the hyper burn. But I would keep it in the back of my mind to try to at least get all the symbols to like so what was it, 13 13 11 11 10 10, like something around there
Yeah.
should be
Okay.
pretty
Yeah. I mean,
doable.
not too bad. Yeah, I
Yeah,
could
you're
do
pretty
that.
close, yeah. But it's like,
Now with
2
the
levels here, 4 levels there, and then before you know it, it's like another 1,000 stat, right?
yeah, with the fan, that was my old fan, the Fafnir one.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made that my Haku. Do you think that's fine, right? Like as a Haku fan?
Yeah,
Because it's got magic
because
attack.
yeah, the
17
magic
star.
attack is grayed out, but is that a tier 6 magic attack flame on it?
Oh no, yeah, I'm talking about the potential, but yeah, I think it is a tier 6
Yeah, the
flame,
potential is fine. Yeah, well, you want to look at the magic attack on the item itself, and you want to look at the potential, right?
Okay.
Because
Because
you have
the flame applies, right?
partially because you have
On
a Haku skill that
yeah,
takes
like it's
total
like
magic attack.
40%.
Yeah, 40. I think 40.
Yeah.
I think 42% if you have decent combat orders, but otherwise it's either 38 or 40%. Yeah, but that's more like you probably won't have room for decent combat orders. But yeah, in terms of equips, that all looks pretty fine. It's just like rounding out, getting a last Abso piece, superior set completed, and get everything to 17, and then reroll the weapon potential, and that's mainly it. There's nothing else really to, or less 2 pieces Abso, I should say. And then other than that, I think you're golden on that one, equip wise.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe some arcane symbols, and then it's probably the Matrix is probably where the most stuff can gain, because you definitely want to get. So I just know these 3. You have this one already. These 3 are pretty good. So the Sengoku, what the fuck is it called? The Sengoku Assault, Sengoku Squad, Sengoku something.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I never knew that was good.
Yeah, there's just like random summons, but one of them is critical damage, which is pretty nice when you get that one. But just in general, they're just all around doing damage, so they're nice. And then the lady next to it, the Sakuna's Blessing, she's really important. That's like kind of like Infinity on the Explorer mages, essentially. Like
Really?
gives you some
Oh my
final
gosh.
damage and then increases over time, so that's going to give you a lot of burst. And then the scary demon, pink demon looking dude, he's basically an iframe and a full map damage over time, and then you can explode him for I think another iframe at the explosion, and then he does like a big burst. So you want to get those 3 in definitely.
Okay. Yeah. To be honest, I took him out because it was annoying. Because he's
Yeah,
like he takes up the whole screen, and I didn't like it. Like, but anyway,
I can
but
get
for
that.
bossing, it's fine.
Yeah, you just have to like trust that it does the right thing at the right time, but it can be visually upsetting. But well, yeah, once the bosses become more brain dead, it's more like go in, blow up boss, loot, and go out kind of thing. Then that should be easier to implement into the total set. And so there's probably going to have to be some boost nodes that come out. So hopefully you can get rid of that sharp ice with the glove. The other things that you if you're going to level any nodes, so it would be definitely domain, because of the duration of the buff and the reduction of the cooldown, so the uptime will be up a lot, and that'll give you a lot of final damage. I always forget the name exactly, but the Yuki whatever lady, the blue lady, she also either goes up in duration or down in cooldown, one of the two, but her uptime goes up quite a bit as well. And then the goddess with the final damage, she also gives more final damage with higher level. So I think boost node level, you're probably fine where you're at, but skill node level, I probably look at those 3 skills and see if you can get some levels on there. You could see if you can get the Snow Lady and the Blessing like to level 8 or 9 or something is probably nice, but I probably try to get domain towards max.
Yeah.
So like EXP nodes that you have where another character doesn't really need them or something, just slam them on here, stuff like that.
Yeah, what I was thinking I might do for nodes is if I can get the blaster to 250, then I might try to make like some really good drop gear on it. Like some like 2-line drop, so get like 200 plus drop rate. while I'm farming, and then just farm up a bunch of nodes like that way.
Then give back to the community. Yeah.
Fund all these characters, yeah. Because I don't know how else. I mean, the only other thing is like events, but like. Yeah. I mean, I used to get good nodes on my Kanna when I would farm it. I get like 30 nodes an hour, but.
Yeah, those days are gone, my friend.
I mean, yeah.
Sadly, sad times.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that makes sense for the Kanna, so we can move on. Now.
Yeah, I think you'll get a lot of damage gain from that, and it might be a little bit on like min-maxing on the mechanics and stuff, right? Like, but like charging the domain is going to be easier. That's not gonna. You're just gonna have way longer duration of domain, so you'll be able to do more damage, more final damage while that's all up, and that'll give you less of the consumption on your mana and all that kind of thing. Don't know how you are. Maybe for bossing as well, you might want to consider putting a little bit of hyperstat points into mana. At least for bossing, I see a lot of people have at least like 5 points in there, just to have a little bit more of a buffer, and that you don't end up like running out and have to do some weird shenanigans. Because you'll put more barriers down when you're bossing, right? And if they're not on a vein, they will consume your mana, or they will stop your mana regeneration. If you put them on a vein, then you're good on. They basically regenerate mana. So.
Okay.
That's something to think about. But yeah, a little bit in the hyperset there probably.
If you just press your teleport, it puts you onto a vein, doesn't it? Like automatically?
Yes, unless you're in a town map, then it's a random teleport.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, too bad it's not always a random teleport.
Yeah, it used to be that, but they...
yeah, I know. Yeah, I just...
in some boss fights, it's death sentence, though. If it did that.
Yeah. I remember... Well, yeah.
Yeah, good times, yeah. Then a little bit of nostalgia there, yeah.
I still have a... I do still have a Kanna with a badge, my old bye-bye Kanna.
Yeah, I have one on my account, but that's not the one that's my strongest one, so it's always also like, what do I do with that one?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably just do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Ice Lightning next, I guess.
Yeah, so what is this one doing?
So, yeah, normal Lotus, normal Damien. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, I mean, I got the...
But it takes a while, I'm guessing. 14k.
I can't kill it at all right now. Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, what does it do
weak.
then? Like, can it do?
Oh, it just does up to C-Vel.
C-Vel, right? Okay. I mean, like H-Mag would take too long, and then C-Pep and Akechi just torture.
Yeah, no.
Probably.
No on those. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I had perfect mechanics, sure, but yeah, I don't. So.
Yeah, no.
Well, at least like, yeah, I have decent mechanics for like Lotus and Damien, but I don't even know what Akechi does, to be honest with you. When I go in Akechi on my Dark Knight, I just final packed and and it dies.
Yeah, that's beautiful. This guy looks like he has Meso-Obtain gear. Is that?
Yeah, so like all my characters, usually that I'm pushing past 220, I'll make Meso gear. Like the Dark Knight, I didn't put it in, but the Dark Knight has Meso gear, but I didn't think it's really relevant because I'm not going to be farming on him anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, like I put all his damage gear, but he has Meso gear on top of that and drop gear. And the Kanna obviously had Meso gear, but I re-rolled it. So yeah, this character, I was going to farm on it. And honestly, this is the character I'd be most likely to farm on still. To push it further. So I don't know, but I think I probably will re-roll the Meso gear for now.
Yeah, the thing behind that is that it makes sense. I tell most people, like, once you're like around 225, you definitely want to think about, like, are you going to keep playing this character? Are you going to commit to this character? Do you like it? And then if you say yes to that, then I would say it's a good idea to at least at that point start making drop and Meso gear so that you can start making sure that by the time you're 250, you kind of earned all of that back and then some, and then you can start throwing that money at Star Forcing. However, the shift kind of happens once you start making a bunch of boss mules and you can start capitalizing on them, is that the proportionality of like how much of your money comes from bossing mules versus how much comes when you're actually training and leveling your characters, it really shifts in favor of the bossing mules very quickly. And that makes it way less necessary to make the drop in Meso gear, which means you can keep your gear unique and then just get some decent unique potential, or in this case, insane unique potential for this character. Obviously, 2 21s and an 18, which is, that's like 3 more lines than you would.
Look at the secondary potential.
Yeah, and the secondary, roll it randomly
I don't
rolling
even know
into 3
what happened. Like I just wish that didn't happen, but
I mean,
anyway,
just because it didn't happen there, it doesn't mean it would happen somewhere else. So I would say.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
You wanted to.
You're right, but it still doesn't feel good. But
Yeah, but that means that the WSE is like completely done.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay,
super
but yeah,
solid
it is
foundation.
nice
Yeah.
for the as a bossing mule. Yeah, it'll
Mm-hmm.
be helpful, I'm sure.
Yeah, you want
Now,
one out of
you're
ID.
supposed to go Deimos, right? Technically, but
Yeah, technically, but you're
uh,
probably only going to get up to 17 star anyway on like a boss meal. You're probably not going to go 20, so
yeah.
it's really close. And you would never get potential close to this, so this is definitely better than. So it's not at this point not an option for this character. If you're going to long term main it, then you can start crafting them and start star forcing in them and just like power rolling them with spare cubes on the side. But you won't, you
Yeah.
won't really replace it unless it's actually 2/9 magic attack and land a boss or better. So,
And
but
then
yeah.
all the gear that I didn't put in there is
Mhm.
just like regular like epic rare like with one useful line, like
Yeah, gotcha. So I think the general progress is I try to get this guy to reinforce Gollux,
hmm
reroll the Mezzo for some stat, and then see if you can get into Abzo, and then
Yeah.
dailies, get in a guild, all the other steps, IED familiars. You could try to do some inner ability stuff here, but again, you don't have as much honor now. So I'm usually a big a big proponent of if you don't have too much honor, just kind of just leave it be. You're gonna be a boss mule. You're gonna make honor EXP, and then once you have some, then you can make a decision. If the character can
hmm
already do everything that you want it to do, then just hold on to the honor in case the character does become a side main or whatever in the future, right? Because then you'd want to meso obtain maybe, because it doesn't necessarily need the damage. One thing that will help a lot though for an Ice Lightning Mage is buff duration.
Yeah, I know about
For
that. Yeah.
Infinity, yeah.
For the Infinity,
So
yeah.
you could, once the character gets like kind of rolling, and it has like a few 100,000 honor experience that is 50% off, you could also just blanket reroll, or you just could throw some circulators on it, and even like a top line 50% buff duration or something like that. Like mine, for example, has a unique inner ability, but on the unique T-Rep, it got 38% on the unique line, which is the highest percent there. Which would be the unique line that you want in Legendary, but then you'd have to lock that and re-roll the top line and get attack speed and all that stuff. So I just kept it unique, 38 buff duration, and just left it there. And that works
So is
just fine
attack
for my
speed
Ice Lightning.
is actually best in slot or no on Ice Lightning?
It is right now. It's expected to stay like that with the changes in Savior as well, but we're not 100% sure yet because it could be shifting maybe a little bit because of the attack speed with
Okay.
mage skills and all that stuff. But it's probably going to stay the same, yeah.
Yeah, and then the nodes, let me see. Yeah, the nodes need work. Oh yeah, I've been trying to roll nodes, so I've been doing like the daily event capping and buying node stones, which is like not that great, but I'm getting a few at least.
It's something, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like I chose the wrong trios. Well, because those trios, Chain Lightning, Frozen Orb, Blizzard, that's fine if you're gonna do four different boost nodes.
Yeah.
Like 2 pairs. But ideally, I just want to do 1 pair, and since I'm not going to farm on it, most likely, I've been trying to get some nodes. So like you can see, Chain Lightning is the top of the level 14 one.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the top of one of them.
Top
so
of
I'm
the level 10 one, yeah.
trying to,
Left side of the.
I'm trying to get a Chain Lightning one on the top that has Lightning Orb and whatever the other bossing one is.
Thundersphere or something.
Yeah, Lightning Orb, Thundersphere, Chain Lightning, and then I'm just gonna throw that one into the new one.
Yes.
That's the plan.
Yeah, because that Thundersphere does so much damage. It's actually disgusting.
So yeah, I'm missing out on a lot of damage there, I think.
Yeah.
But,
but that's
that's
work
just
in
kind of
progress.
a waiting game. Yeah.
The other thing is you definitely you don't necessarily need the bind because you have a bind in your iframe. But you want to have the timing of that work, but your iframe is 3 minutes, so you could use the bind and the iframe. That's kind of like up to personal preference and how strong you end up getting. You definitely, if you have a leveled up slot available, like here, I wouldn't never put the decent skill in there, like decent speed infusion, but you want to put your unreliable memory in there, because the higher level it is, the higher the likelihood that you get shorter cooldown reduction when you use it. So that increases your uptime for your second infinity. That's one thing.
I think that was just because I had the decent holy symbol in there, and then I just swapped it, and I didn't think about it.
Yeah, it's possible. Just wanted to mention that. Especially for bossing, right? You want to get that in there because the holy symbol is probably not going to make it for most bossing mules. way too much value on the individual slots. Same thing here though.
Yeah.
You know, if you can get decent sharp eyes, either with crit damage, like most of my boss mules have like decent sharp eyes and 1 line of stat unique gloves, but just to get that extra matrix slots off, because that's just quite a good amount of value.
Okay.
All the other skills for Ice Lightning are all pretty good. Ice Age is not as amazing for bossing, so if you're short on slots, you could move that one around. But since you're pretty bursty, you could also try to consider getting the Goddess Blessing in there for this one in terms of damage output. You've got two stacks of that, and then usually you have some downtime in between the bosses. So by the time you're on the next boss, you can get back up to your 2 stacks and do back-to-back bursts again. Because you got really big burst on that. Whatever that lightning skill is that we didn't mention, that we mentioned as the other one in the in the trio slot, right? That's where a lot of your damage comes from. Infinity, and the 3 lightning skills essentially. One more thing I do want to mention: if you're bursting, so a lot of people don't really know this, but you might know. But there's like a passive, I think in 3rd or 4th job, that you, if you put it on a key, you can see that if you activate it with the down arrow key, it makes like a little blizzard on the ground.
Oh yeah.
Absolute zero or something.
I know about that, but I don't bother to do it, to be honest. Is it that big of a difference?
For your burst, it is pretty significant, yeah, because it keeps refreshing the snow stacks, and all of your bursts basically lightning stacks, right? It's the lightning barrage, it's the hyper, and if you keep refreshing the snow stacks, then it gives you critical damage on. Basically, every lightning attack consumes a snow stack and then gives critical damage on it. But if you keep replenishing the snow stacks, then all of the hits just keep hitting harder. And because Ice Lightning is kind of low on the critical damage, it really benefits a lot from the critical damage from that skill. So it will, even though it doesn't really show in your stat window at all ever, it will make your bursts hit way harder. That and trying to, more experiment, especially once you have more buff duration with how long is the infinity and everything, right? So therefore, if you're using this character as a bossing mule, your character will benefit a lot as well, going from 8k Legion and even up to 9k Legion and past, because then you can fill up so many slots in your Legion grid that you can even start filling up, like I have an extra page, for example, just for my Ice Lightning bossing mule, so that I can switch to that, so that the infinities just last forever, well, as the name says, I guess. So with the inner-ability plus the 40 buff duration from the Legion together, it's just crazy damage.
Yeah, because it just keeps scaling, right? The whole time.
Yeah, they put a ceiling on it now because it was getting a little bit too crazy, but I think it scales up to like 130% final damage.
Jesus. Yeah.
And then as soon as it's over, it's the other guy's turn again, so, There's only a little bit of downtime where like both of them are on cooldown and you can't refresh them. For me, that's like a 30-second window or something after like 4 or 5 infinities. So yeah, it's pretty good for a boss mule to keep that up.
Mostly Abso, reinforced Golix, symbols.
Yeah, guild.
Inner ability, guild. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But all these 3 characters, well, I guess these 2 characters, because Dark Knight's already there. They're pretty close, wouldn't you say? Or what do you think?
They have some pieces that are strong, right? Like this guy's got the secondary. The other guy's already across the board has a lot of legendaries with already stat, like on the Kanna. But every character has their own challenges. But that's why you want to take those really strong buffs, like get ID fams on all of them, get the reinforced or superior Golix set, get them all in a guild, access to guild skills. Once you get those things down, then you can really see like how much extra does this character really need. Because I don't know, this guy in symbols is a little bit lower in symbols as well, right? Than the Kanna. And because of all of those things compounding on each other, that's why suddenly this guy is like 7k stat lower.
Yeah, but I mean 14k. Like I see most people boss mules have like 14k.
Yeah, again, but 14k is not the other, right? They could have.
But yeah. I mean, they have probably better Legion, better nodes, etc.
They could have way better nodes, for example. They could have thrown just like 1,000 nodes at it, and then they only need to be 14k. But then their effective stat might be like 18k or something, right? That's why it's pretty tricky to like compare just the stat. That's why I have the progression grid, so you can kind of see, what do I think 14k means? 14k means that you're like probably like around level, probably like 225 to 230. Your crit rate is probably going towards 100%. Damage, total functional damage is probably like 180 to 200%, right? But that's going to be a little bit of class class diffy, but your ID is probably 90+%. I think this guy's ID is also a little bit on the low end. But that's normal. If you don't have the FAMs yet and you don't have the reinforced or superior set yet, then this guy's ID is going to be a little bit on the low. That's pretty normal for Ice Lightning Mage. Kind of sucks that you have 2 nice pendants though, because one of them is going to have to get replaced by a Golix setter.
Yeah, I mean probably the Mechanator, right?
Yeah, out of these two, yeah. I mean, the Mechanator is really nice, but out of these two, it's going to have to be the Mechanator, yeah. Set bonus is just too good.
Okay, yeah, so I think I'm good on that one. So
yep. Also, this one might
get,
oh yeah, because you were looking at the you're looking at the DK first, but this guy eventually might also get some level up potions and stuff, right? Get up to 235, get an extra symbol, extra matrix slot, stuff like that. That's another thing to consider, is that you could maybe for here and there maybe buy like 1 extra matrix slot as well, if that just makes your whole set complete.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like a one-time purchase for pretty good value if it's going to be a bossing mule.
For the Dark Knight, I've just been doing Monster Park to try and get him to 235, because I think getting the Esphera symbol will just be another step towards like Hard Lotus.
Yep, definitely.
Anyway, yeah, for the hero, I did also do the Choo Choo pre-quest for him. I hadn't done it before.
Okay.
So I unlocked that symbol, and also
it also unlocks the Monster Park run, right, for that area. So if you're trying to do Monster Park for free EXP, that's also nice, yeah.
Yeah. And I got 2 event rings from the current event for him. I got the Synergy ring and the Master SS ring to replace the Alien ring.
Yeah, no potential.
I don't know what
you're pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then reinforced Golix, right, for the other parts, which means don't push the E-ring anymore. And then it basically just pushes out the unwelcome alien or whatever the name is, the unwelcome set.
Yeah.
Badge, and then it's up to you whether you want to go full Abzo, just like with the Ice Lightning, right? You want to go Abzo in there. Are you okay with just Tyrants? Like I usually just get Tyrant Cape and then do enough hard mag runs, buy myself some Tyrant shoes, get some okay potential on that, and then get like an Empress glove with some decent sharp eyes. So for this one, I think you want to stay the weapon, and you already have one-handed attack speed as well, right, in your ability. So that means you don't have to go decent speed infusion, so you're just getting a matrix slot out of that essentially. The other things in the matrix here look good, I think. Oh, this is like old trio, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you technically would want Cry of Valhalla in your main trio now, and Rising Rage more in the mobbing trio.
Oh, okay.
Because they changed that.
Is it like how important is it, you think?
My trios are kind of scuffed at this point. Like I think I have Raging Blow like 4 times because of my 2 trios setup. For a bossing mule, it's probably not. I mean, if you could get it, but you have your Rising Rage as one of your main lines on the level 14, so I'd say this is probably good enough. Honestly, I wouldn't bother with it too much.
That's kind of what I think too. Yeah. So for the, I guess I forgot to add it, but the emblem has 12 strength, 12 attack, 30 ID. So that's probably fine. And then the secondary, I left it at Epic because I wasn't sure if I should, I was going to do Deimos. But Deimos is it's really only worth if you want to star it, right? So.
Well, for two-handed, right? You need to get a new weapon then as well. So you.
Wait, I thought Deimos was with one-handed.
Sorry, yeah, with one-handed, yeah. So you could, sorry.
Yeah, and I have one-handed, yeah.
Yeah, so you could do that. But again, you'd start it up to 17. So for the other one, it's not worth because it's already 30% magic attack, right? So the amount of money you would have to invest would be so much to even make it remotely as good or better. But since this one is epic and you left it there, then I would go for the shield on this one, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so when they did the change to hero, I thought I looked it up and someone was saying like two-handed is like 10% more damage than one-handed or something like that.
I don't think it's quite that much, but it is significant enough. Yeah, because of the multiplier on two-handed just being better. Yeah.
But I mean, like, I still just don't know that it's worth it just because it's arcane on the one hand. So yeah, so I'll probably just do the Deimos and 17 star.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay.
Get legendary, 2 useful lines. Yeah, double check the flame on the weapon to make sure that that's up to snuff. But if it's anything like tier 6 attack or something
It's
equivalent
at
of
least,
that,
yeah,
then yeah,
it's tier 6 or more, yeah.
yeah, then it's fine.
Because I think that was during the flame compensation, so I had
Right.
plenty of
right.
flames.
Oh, of course, yeah, because you got this during that same
Yeah.
composition. You got the Vec pet on here,
Yeah.
maybe even. That was around that time, right? We got the sherbet
Yeah.
pet. Yeah.
Yeah, I never even ended up using all my flames. A bunch of those just went into the ether.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
have a problem with that where like I tend to not use things and then they just expire because like I don't want to waste them, you know?
yeah, and then you end up wasting them.
Yeah, exactly. So
You're
I
like
gotta
the guy
just like
who
there's way too many growth potions. I I could have already been like 240 by now if I
Mhm.
didn't let all those growth potions expire.
Yeah. Yeah, so well sometimes people will be like, "Oh, I don't want to use it at 231 because it'll be more efficient at
Exactly. Yeah.
239," and then
Exactly. There you go.
but that's a good
me.
idea, but then I mean one simple tip you could do if you have an item like that, just put a marker in your calendar and be like, on this day use this potion because it's going to expire. Even now, like if you put it in your storage and you're going to log out, it'll show like it's going to expire within 24 hours. But maybe if you don't play every day, you could just put a marker in your calendar and be like, yo, this potion is expiring this day, so you could just log in for two seconds, use it, and then log out again, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so hero, similar stuff. So
Mhm.
Absos,
Shield,
Symbols,
reinforced.
shield. Oh yeah, and then
Yeah, grab
yeah,
a badge,
or,
I guess, but that's.
or tyrants. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm running NMEG, but it's just
Mhm.
not dropping. And then
That's
yeah,
that
probably
can
do some
happen.
Star Force. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's try to get it up to roughly the same level Star Force as like as the Kanna. But remember, like the Kanna is going to disproportionately need a little bit more funding. It already has like more stat in the potentials and everything, but just because of
Yeah.
the nerfs that it got and the buffs that all the other characters got, disproportionately the Kanna is going to have to be quite a lot more funded if you look at the gear
Yeah.
on
My
average than
hero is
like the
almost as
hero.
strong.
Yeah.
My hero is literally almost as strong as my Kanna
Mm-hmm.
with half the stat. I mean,
The Kanna's
it's a
got
bit ridiculous.
no functional ID whatsoever, and then Hero in the 4th job has a 50% line, so it's like
Yeah.
that's a huge difference, especially because that reflects directly at WSE potential, right? And that's where you get all your like your percentage attack and magic attack. So it's eating directly into that for the Kanna, and the hero doesn't have to bother with that. So even though the weapon doesn't have any percentage attack, because it has such a high attack because it's a fake arcane, it can just start capitalizing on those lines, especially once you get a secondary, like 2 lines of attack or something. That's gonna increase your damage by a lot.
Now the Demon Slayer is pretty interesting because
Do you have no questions for
I've
the
got, like-
Matrix otherwise?
for the Matrix for the hero.
Yeah, because you don't need speed
Yeah, I mean
fusion.
so those trios you said are wrong, but I'm not gonna probably bother to fix them.
Yeah, they're not optimal. Yeah,
uh,
definitely level up the bind because I see you have some special ones because you're 2-minute, right? So hero would disproportionately benefit quite a bit from leveling up the bind because you have a big burst and instinctual combo, and not every boss stands still nicely in that. Namely, like less than half of them do that. So the other ones, you really want to see if you can have the bind synchronized with the burst to be more important. That'll almost be more important than boosting a boost node at some point, you know.
And then I'll probably get him to 220. That was my plan.
Yeah. I would say if you just do Monster Parker, like for example, I started doing the 7-day Monster Parker on my Demon Slayer at level 210, and always just did whatever was the highest level Monster Park I could do, and I got him to 228 by the time the medal was completed.
Well, isn't there some kind of
So 2 level up
XP
potions
event?
was 230. Yeah.
Well, I thought in the event that's coming, I already forgot the name of it, but
The Savior?
this summer event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Savior. Isn't there like some kind of XP event for like characters around like level 200, 210, something like that? I thought I heard about that. Yeah, something that's something that's good for getting like from 200 to 210, basically.
Oh well, they're lowering the EXP requirements on several
Oh, yeah,
intervals.
well, yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't know.
But it's
I
not like
thought
an
I heard
event,
about
but
some
that's
event that,
yeah, that's going to be standard
Yeah,
EXP
yeah.
just going down. Yeah, so that'll help as well. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, yeah, whatever. We'll see if there's an event or not.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
there's
mean,
not.
patch notes will be out before this time tomorrow, so we'll just be going over
I can't
tomorrow.
believe
The
they're
game will
not
be
out
down,
yet.
and yeah. Oh,
Isn't
dude, they're just so
it's
long.
dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean the patch notes are always so long, and the team is so small of people who work on it in NA, and like basically the last day they have to send them over and get them all double checked, and yeah, they're usually well. I think the earliest I've ever been out was like 2 days before the maintenance, but usually it's like the day before or the day of kind of thing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean we already know most of what's coming from Korea anyway. So it's not like it's going to be a huge surprise. It's just to see the details and the actual dates and everything.
Although MapleSea didn't get one of the events.
Yeah, MapleSea follows KMS more closely, and as a result, they're pretty small regions, so they tend to get some different stuff. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not saying it as like we already know everything guaranteed. You know, we don't even have to think about it. But we have a very good general idea. Like 90%, 95%, maybe even is already like set in stone pretty much. And then the other 5% is just kind of like matching the numbers. Like this event was a little bit different for us as well. It was only 6 weeks versus 8 weeks in Korea, and that's why we had the piggy bank at the end to give us, and I think 4 times instead of 3 times puzzle or something like that. But we had a few more things so we can get a little bit more coins, so we can buy out some more items in the same amount of time. But that's just because of how the calendar works, you know. Okay, yeah, Hero will get there. Yeah, you just make sure the bind is very important. But yeah, you've got your own ID, and once your Legion does its own stuff, and you got enough crit rate on the hero, then you're golden. But like right now, the crit rate is still pretty low, right, on the hero. So you want to be able to link skills or something maybe weren't on, but you want to try to get that guy to 100%. That's very important.
First stat, probably a lot of it's just going to come from symbols. Although, yeah, I guess it depends if I only push him to 220, I'm not going to get that many symbols. But
no, that's 3 symbols. Yeah. It's 3 symbols, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd still be missing 3, but I mean it's something. You know, there's at least like a few thousand that's free.
Yeah, and he might just be doing like each mag and below at first until he gets some extra levels from Monster Park or from event and from dailies, and then eventually he'll just creep up to 225, 230, and then before you know it, he'll have 5 symbols as well.
Yeah.
It's really like when people ask, why did you train this character? Why did you train this character? For most of my characters, I never train a day between like 210 and 240. It's just all Monster Park, dailies, and level up potions, and before you know it, your character's in the 240s. And then you do level like a few levels, and then you throw some magnificent potions at it, and you have another 250. That's kind of how it ends up going after a while.
So yeah, so for the Demon Slayer, I do have some like decent gear. Nothing like too good on the potential, but it's kind of like I guess where I'd want it for a bossing mule, because a lot of it's like unique, or like two line epic, like that like 9 to 15% range. And then obviously you got a badge and
yeah, the crit rate doesn't have to be as high for this guy, but you probably want to get 50 to 60%. Demon Slayer is a bit node intensive because you want a really high level Demon Awakening. That's kind of like your domain as with your Kanna. If you could get close to maxing those, that would be important because you get all of your crit rate from that, and you get your empowered skill, and just like your Demon Lash becomes insanely powerful with that. But you either have this, with a crit rate from that, or you use your Demon Impact, right? And that has a crit rate on it. So you just want to look at those 2 crit rates and then split the difference.
Yeah, I've heard you just need like 70 crit rate, something like that for Demon Slayer. And no
I think most endgame people end up at like 60, somewhere 50 to 60 or something. But yeah, anything around there, definitely you can stay quite a bit away from needing 100. Yeah. So as a Legion setup, you can go much more into ID and into boss damage, stuff like that.
So I
Speed
get
Fusion
the 4
helps.
set superior.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm looking at the matrix at this point.
But matrix, yeah.
Yeah. So like I would say Speed Fusion, second node, definitely the Demon Impact and Demon Lash, right? The third one doesn't really matter that much what's on there. It could be the whatever this one's name is, Cerberus Jump. Yeah, it could be Cerberus Jump.
Yeah.
Could be something else, honestly. As long as the second one has Demon Lash and Demon Impact, then you're good.
Okay. So do you think I should try and do Absos on this, or no?
So right now it has Arcane.
The Penciler, I could probably replace that for Necro.
Yeah, Necro or Cygnus.
Yeah.
So usually what I have is my lower characters just did Necro for a while until I had a decent flame, and then I upgraded that to 12%. So sometimes or to 9% on epic. Some of them went to unique, but mostly epic. And then from there, I just when I'm doing weekly, I just open up the Cygnus tickets every week. And if there's anything there with a great flame, like 100 plus essentially, then I transfer over through Muspel Glove into that, and then reroll at unique to try to get the decent sharp eyes. That's usually what I do.
Interesting. Okay.
So as long as you don't get a really great glove with a great flame, that's fine. You just keep the current one. But it just helps smooth things over a little bit, and then you're also not brute forcing your flames into something like that. Because usually you're already working on arcanes on other characters, so you always have something to throw your extra flames on already.
I had I forgot. Yeah, I did have the force set on this character because I had the double superior pendant. But when they did that transfer event, I transferred that to get a belt on my Dark Knight. So that's why I lost the force set. Yeah. So I need to get a new pendant. So I've been running Arc for the past few days to try to get a Dom pendant. It's probably the best, right? That I can get.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for most characters, like most of my boss mules end up with a Machinator with like okay potential. Some of them even have. At this point, the ones that haven't gone to Gollux yet also have like a Horntail pendant on it, because Dominator is just too rare. Once your character gets pretty far into the game, you can also get to the point where you just craft Dominators with primals, but you're probably not at that point yet.
Yeah, I only have one primal.
Yeah, you want to keep those for Meisters for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see all the potential lines on all this stuff.
Yeah, it's all just like 6, 9, 12, 15%, pretty much.
Yeah, this seems kind of similar. That's somewhat better because I'm on my Demon Slayer now. I think I've got 15% attack and 9 int. Oh, you 6 int. You got 6 luck. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
My secondary is 9 attack, 6 all stats, 6 damage. That's pretty close. And I have the fake Absolab on this guy. So yeah, that's all roughly equivalent. Maybe probably Unshining as well. Try to get this weapon up to 17.
Okay, so you think I should stick with the Fafnir and not try to?
Yeah, that's kind of up to you. So some characters are going to need more help than others. If you already have a legendary weapon and the potential is already okay, and there's a flame on it, and you got the set bonus going with this, you could see if this character gets to being able to do what you wanted to do without Abzo, or gets close enough to it, and then maybe you can just spice it up with a little bit more nodes, a little bit more arcane power, and then you're good. For me personally, I hate the weeklies for Absolab with a passion. So if I can avoid doing that, okay, yeah, if you don't mind it at all, then it's more of an equal option for you. But for me, it's like if I don't absolutely have to, I'm not going to. So for me, that's an easy out. For a lot of other people, that's like Sweetwater for them. Like they just absolutely hate it. So.
Yeah, I was thinking if I can get the Dark Knight to kill Hard Lotus Hardamian, then I could trade carries.
Yep.
On Mule.
That's also very true. Yeah.
Just get drops. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to see like it's probably somewhere after Savior that change goes through that you have to do at least 5% of the damage. But if you are working on these characters, you can talk to the person and be like, you can keep an eye on. I think in the beginning it's not gonna have the indicator on the screen, but after that update, it should have like the color thing next to the name that shows whether you're like in the danger zone or whether you've done more than 5%. So if you're exchange carrying, you're always just gonna give the other person the opportunity to make sure that they do enough damage, so that they're not suddenly missing out on all the drops.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be that hard to do 5% to like Hard Lotus. I mean.
No, I mean if you're getting carried by someone who's really strong, it'll be impossible, right? Because they'll just nuke it. But you'll just have to make sure like, okay, this person gets to do damage for a little bit. Maybe do a BA. People will start knowing what the damage is. So they'll just say like, you can just go do 4 trill and then I'll start attacking in like 5 minutes, like I'll just jump around a little bit and just tell me when you're at 5 trill and then I'll just nuke it kind of thing. Or they do 1 burst and they just let you attack and then their cooldowns come back and then they send it to phase 2 and then they do 1 nuke again and then you hit it a little bit more, something like that. It'll flesh itself out. But that is definitely good that you're thinking about it in that capacity. If that's something, you want the gear, you're okay with doing the weeklies, but you're setting yourself up for maybe exchange carrying and stuff like that. You're already doing it with Helix, and then other people will do it after that as well, even with Arcanes, right? Or even up to like Saren and shit. So, or Black Mage carries, right? There's always like the next step of like exchange carries. Once people are liberated, they're very strong. Sometimes they do like 3 and 3. They just start running 3-man, carrying 3 of the other members, and then the other parties, like they kind of split up. Same thing happens with Tenebrous parties, right? Because the bitch is just too damn rare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
but this was your old main, right? So it was decently funded. You feel good with the
yeah,
mechanics
I
as
mean,
well?
this is from a very long time ago.
From a
So
long
like,
time ago, yeah. Okay.
yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
208,
can
yeah.
sort of play it.
Mm-hmm. But again, yeah, guild will. I think trying to making sure that you can get some kind of guild, bossing guild going. Because like I said, even if you get 5 people on board, and then they'll have like 5 bossing mules, now you already have 25 characters that you can start running with, right? Which means you can. I mean, you can probably not max out your flag race in that guild, but you can start getting some decent growth. And maybe you put them in the main guild at first, just so you have more participation. And then as your main guild gets full, maybe you start like, kind of like siphoning them off to like a mule guild. But that's something that you got to talk to your guild management about. Like, what are we going to do with that? How can we? Is there already any provisions? Does anyone already have? Because I think a lot of people. I didn't know this, but a lot of people just make a guild for all of their own mules and put them all in there.
Yeah.
But I feel like,
So
yeah, I don't know if that's super useful. It's more like, it's funny to see like a guild with like 30 of your own characters in it, but I don't know how useful that is in the long term.
the last thing that I just want to talk a little bit about,
Mm-hmm.
because I know we're like almost at time, but I feel like we didn't talk much about the Dark Knight. So if you
Yeah.
could just take a quick look at the Dark Knight, I just want to know like what you think I should be doing. Like obviously just like star forcing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gollix should be going to like 21 probably. All the CRA to 21. I already have one of them at 21.
Remind me again, the goal is just to be like established at 250.
Killing Hard Lotus, Hard Damien like 15-minute clear each.
Okay. So you'd want to 50-minute each. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
probably 30.
Or like 30-minute total. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So-
obviously Damien's a bit harder.
So I would, like, broad estimate would probably be somewhere north of 35k stat.
Okay.
Like that
I
would
mean,
be my
with
I feel like
that, like-
37ish, like something like that would be my guess.
Okay. I mean, just with symbols, I could already get to like probably 30k.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's those extra Ks though where you get the star
like-
forcing past 17 essentially, because like you said before, like you don't want that stat to come from 3-lining
Yeah.
everything. You'd want to be okay with
Yeah,
having some
so-
unique lines and some legendary lines, but most of it is going to come from probably, yeah, I mean I can look what you have now, but it's probably going to be like 21. Oops, oh I have it open twice. That's why I'm confusing you.
And then
it's-
I don't think I'll go arcanes, so probably
COA, so-
21 Absos.
Yeah, that's another thing that you want to think about in the long term. I think there's nothing wrong. Well, I'm a huge proponent of 20 Absos because 20 you can get very risk-free, and 21 is can be spicy because that's when the really
Yeah.
expensive booms tend to happen. And 20 Abso is already really strong. Like that's roughly equivalent to like 19 arcane, so like 18 to 19 arcane, kind of like that ballpark.
21 is free though.
Yeah, you say that. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
on my
that
marksman
this-
it was. I tried 2 taps and both worked, but on my my hero I tried 3 taps and all 3 failed first try. So it's a little.
When you look at the statistics, it's a surprising boom chance 2021, but
Mm-hmm.
it feels free.
Yeah. Let's see. The secondary is very nice. Cape is great. The heart is, as good as that can be. That's another thing as well.
Yeah.
You want to see. Did you already buy the heart this event?
No, because
Mhm.
I don't want to spend 4 bill for that.
Okay. I mean, I would say it's
Especially,
worth
like-
it, but yeah, it's
Isn't
up
it
to
just?
you,
Well,
ultimately.
I mean, like, it's just mostly just going to be for the potential, right? So like,
it's
'cause
only
you
for
don't get much
potential.
attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for me,
Yeah, like
I
one
feel like I
attack.
already have so much in good potentials. What I'm
Mhm.
missing is Star Force in my mind.
Yeah, the surface
So-
only goes up from like 5 to 7, so it's definitely not that. But like the unique Lydium heart with these lines gives you 6%, and if this was Fairy heart, this
Yeah, like
thing
easy,
would,
like tw-
this thing would be 18%.
24%. Well,
Like this-
I mean, it's easiest to cube, right? So you get like 24% pretty easy.
Yeah, 24, 27 is even very doable. Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
more
but
that.
I mean, like,
yeah. At a
I
certain
don't even know
point-
how much of a difference that would make for me.
Yeah.
Because like,
I mean, that's a
I
legitimate
feel
question.
like, yeah, I mean, because I already have like so many good potentials, but it doesn't
Mhm.
seem to do much for me. I feel like
the biggest gains that I made on this character was when I got everything 17 and I got 21 hat, like 19 pants and armor, and that was like when I saw the most gains. So I'd rather just take that 4 bill plus, you know, like another bill to tier it up or whatever. So like 5-6 bill by the time it's all done to get like an extra like 18% stat. Instead, I could just throw that into Star Forcing, probably get a 21, maybe even like a few 19, something like that. I don't know. You know, I feel like it's bigger gains there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess the question is, if you want to get to that point where it's like 35 to 37k stat, I think I would advise eventually to get a heart for this, because I think you're going to get to the point where getting that extra 20% divided over all of your equips is going to end up costing you more than a 5 to 6 bill it would cost you on the item itself to just buy the heart and rank it up.
Yeah, okay.
I think, yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
I would consider it.
At some point, yeah.
For most bossing mules, in your situation, probably not. I end up doing it because, you know, I have 200 bill. Like, it'd be absolutely fucking stupid not to buy it. But if you have more limited income, then for a bossing mule, definitely just Lotus and Damien and below, it's not necessary. But if you're going to go, you know, all the way to 50, you want to do the hard bosses, it does end up getting into the realm where I think it's definitely I know it's financially efficient to do so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll consider it, especially if they bring it back at 2 bill, yeah. But yeah, 4 bill is like pretty steep, but
yeah,
probably still worth it.
So I think if you, my guess would be if you 21 CRA, 20 Abzo, 19 accessories, you should be more than good, and your WSE is already good. Like, I mean, your emblem is a little unfortunate there with the with the 12% luck top line, because probably had a minor heart attack when you saw that roll.
Double prime, yeah.
You're like, oh, it's the numbers I want, but not the letters I want. Unfortunate.
Imagine 33.
Yeah, that would have been something. Yeah, the weapon is good. Secondary is good. I mean, it's heavy on the boss, but again, it's 3 functional lines, so you're not complaining there. It's really solid. You could eventually see if you can get a better flame on the weapon if you're going to go that far into the game, right? Just tier 6 is pretty easily reproducible, but if you can have, like, you know, like a tier 4 or tier 5 boss damage, then it would be an extra 8 to 10% there.
That would probably be the one thing that I would go arcane on, is the weapon.
Okay, yeah, then don't do that. Then don't work on the flame.
Yeah. I am sitting on like 200 droplets right now.
Okay.
But probably would be better to, like, so I don't have much of the Lucid stuff. I've only cleared like 3 times.
Okay. Well, getting into hard Lucid would be really good there.
Well,
right?
no, yeah, I'm just doing normal Lucid. Like, I can actually almost nearly solo normal Lucid. But it's just kind of a pain. So I just go join a party and just blast it. But
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 minute clear in a party, but.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get 1 or 2 weekly droplets, right? So it takes way more weeks to get enough to be able to buy the weapon.
I don't even know if I want to put the weapon on here. I might put the weapon on like the blaster or something. I don't know. But I guess
then you'd have to be running there for a while until you can buy it there with the coins and
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just save it for someday when I need backups. But it seems like they always get easier and easier to get. So it's like the value of droplets just goes down over time, it seems like. Like, a lot of those droplets I farmed when they were like quite rare, before you could buy them in shops.
Wait, which things?
Droplets.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
like
you can go through the whole the whole step-to-step process on how they made Arcane more available is pretty insane if you think about it. Way back in the day, it was just kill monsters, get a droplet like every hour.
Yeah, it was like one per hour. Yeah, and I farmed like 80 of those.
And then 1 in a bajillion chance of getting a box once a week. Not even getting a box. Sorry, getting an armor item straight up. Good luck, you know. And then
and you get the wrong one. You already have like 3 shoulders. And you get another shoulder or something. Yeah.
Nope. Well, that would never happen because you never get that many drops. But I understand the example though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that you do have, that's the only other one you get. Yeah.
Yeah, or like if you already like got your shoulder to like 21 or something, and then you get another shoulder drop. Yeah. And
specific, right? You have to get a shoulder from Will, and you have to get the other drops from Lucid because of the drop table.
Oh yeah.
Now with the box, you can select.
You couldn't even trade out the droplets either. Yeah.
No, you can trade the droplets. The item themselves cost more coins. The coins transferred for more droplets. There were no boxes. There were fewer bosses that dropped it. The drop chance
And
was
then I remember
lower. Like it's everything
people
combined.
complaining because their main couldn't farm in Arcana anymore, so they
Mhm.
literally could not farm droplets. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's different times, but yeah, now you can just go buy like 100 droplets out of every event shop.
Yep, event shop. Yeah, event shops, and then off event shops just for mesos, you can buy them all. Yeah, it's the accessibility for Arcane is just
and then
insane now.
and then if you're doing C10, it just drops like candy anyway. But
Yeah, and then like last
Yeah.
Black Mage, I didn't get one box, bro. I was a little disappointed. Usually I get always one,
Yeah.
most of the time two, but I mean I'm full 22, so I'm okay with it. But that's why a lot of people getting carried on Black Mage early on as well, because they'll just end up getting way more boxes. Like Black Mage is pretty much guaranteed boxes as well, so that's a bunch of money. It's like $5 bill, right? Whenever you get a box.
Oh yeah. Okay. One last question
Sure.
on the Dark Knight.
Mhm.
If you look at the inner ability,
Yeah.
I was trying to roll for attack speed, obviously, because that's best. But I happen to roll unique buff, which, from what I remember from a while ago, unique buff is rarer than attack speed. So I kept that.
This was with random roll, not for circulators. You rolled this with random rolls.
Yeah, this is with honor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been trying to roll for attack speed with the unique buff.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think buff is that important for Dark Knight anymore because you just use quarter packed most of the time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still nice.
Yeah.
It is still nice because it keeps your buffs up longer. Like you have that one buff that
Hyper skill, right? The weapon attack.
Yeah.
Because like 70 attack or
So-
something. I think.
Yeah, and then there's the other one.
Dark Thirst.
Yeah.
No, something like
Yeah,
that.
dark thirst, I think, something like that. And then there's another one that gives like ID and so you need like a certain amount of buff duration.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I guess just like, do you think I should be keeping that?
Or Dark
I mean, it's only
Resonance,
32%.
Yeah,
Only 32% also.
Mhm.
So I have to like chaos circuit, I guess. Or
if you want to min max
as is,
it,
I don't know.
black circulators eventually. If you want to,
or wait.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it chaos or black? Anyway.
Well, if they're on the lower end, then it's basically the same. Doesn't matter which one you use. You probably want a chaos rather than black circulators because they're more expensive. But the reason that black circulators are more expensive is you can pick the outcome,
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah,
you can pick
okay.
the previous
Yeah.
one. So if you're really close to your max roll, you'd want to use dark ones. And if you're just on the low end, then fuck it, just chaos it. And if you get attack speed, then you can definitely still chaos it because you can't fuck up your attack speed anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
but I would
thought.
do
So,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
wait for 50% off, lock the buff.
saving some honor. Yeah,
Yep.
50% off. Yep.
Yeah, I'll do
Okay,
that.
Sounds good.
Matrix is all good here.
Yeah,
Forget
just like the
DK.
skill nodes.
Yeah.
Just a bit of work.
Spear does a lot of damage, right? Yeah. Cyclone. And then I think if I'm not mistaken, your Beholder also increases your damage of your Force Jump Beholder skill, right? Not just that 5th job skill?
Oh, yeah. Are you saying like for the nodes? Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why even for like the hyper skills, you take the beholder damage.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have a lot of... Yeah, this guy also has a lot of crit rate and a lot of ID, so you're not suffering in any way for that. Got the extra boost here. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything you'd really want to do here. Well, it looks solid to me. The little knowledge I have on Dark Knight, that looks fine. But yeah, this character... So you feel really comfortable with this character, right? The Dark Knight?
Yeah, this is like what I would say. Well, it's definitely my main at the moment.
But Terror Burning this would be a bit of a waste compared to the potential for another character.
Yeah, well, and I'm just like, I'm not like, I like bossing with it, but I really, like, you can tell I don't like training with it because it's pretty low level for like the gear, because a lot of the gear just came from my Kanna. Because I would just farm my Kanna and dump it all on my Dark Knight, and then never farm on my Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Because it was like, why would I farm my Dark Knight?
Because you have the damage already.
Yeah. Why would I farm for 300 mil an hour when I can make 600 mil on my Kanna?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, this is why I always. That's why also one of the reasons why I never meso farmed, because the way I see it, you could see like how much meso you could possibly make on a character an hour is like 100% capacity, right? Like 100% capacity on a Kanna could be, and sometimes was even as high as like 1.1 bill, right? And then
Well, yeah, I'm talking like clean 600 mil, but
yeah. And then
yeah.
well, just for comparison, not to say that your rates were shit, okay? Just I'm not trying to diss you here. But like just as a comparison for my situation. And then like but then you get 0%, right? 0% efficiency there. And then if I were to train on my arc and get as much EXP as I possibly could, and that was my ceiling, that was my 100%. And then the meso I made there was probably like, I don't know, probably like 60% of what the 100% of the meso would be, right? But if I look at that, like, do I rather want to have 100% of my EXP rate and 60% of my meso rate, or 0% of my EXP rate and 100 compared to 60, so like 1.6 times the meso? And I'd be like, well, I mean, 1.6 times the meso is cool, but if that gives you no EXP, I feel like that EXP is worth more to me than multiplying my meso. Yeah.
Well, and I've kind of realized that too.
It could be though, right?
So, yeah,
that could be an event soon, and then you're like, I just want to make as much money as possible, and then you just shift over. So as long as you're aware of your possibilities and you're just doing what makes sense in that time, my goal is to get to 250 on this. Well, then get that EXP in there. My goal is to make a huge upgrade the next shiny, and go a little bit heavier on the meso.
But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely probably done meso farming forever, especially because it's just not worth it now with the changes. But at least in most cases, probably if you're playing Shadower is the best case these days. But
yeah, that's why like the only meso farmer I would say would be like Shadower, or if you're maining it and then getting the extra meso. But that would be after maxing crystals, training as much on your main as you want to / can, and then on top of that farming. It's like, even then I would probably just grind more on the main, even if the rates are shittier, because if you're maxing out crystals and you're training a whole bunch on your main, you already have more money that you can spend. So I don't know why you would even meso farm on the side there. Maybe you're meso / familiar / droplet farming. Maybe you can like familiar farming. I could see that more as valuable there than actually the meso farming. Yeah.
So I think I'm probably just gonna focus on training my main now.
Someone said buff duration is for the 4th job skill that isn't 100% uptime without the buff duration.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, I mean, but you only need like 40% buff duration or something. Like, you don't need a lot, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it means that once your Legion gets pretty big, then do endgame people like roll out of their big buff duration skill then for Dark Knight? Maybe go for an epic one or something?
Pretty sure unique is what everyone...
Yeah, people... I mean, want to get unique.
For IA, you mean?
Well, if you can get a big enough Legion that you can get the full block and buff duration...
You're on your Legion board.
Yeah. Then maybe the pressure is off of your IA, and then you can roll into more damage in the IA, maybe. Then you could go like attack speed, boss damage, damage to debuff, something like that. Wait, that could be a question for like Dark Knight class Discord, maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I don't think I would ever reach it. I mean, maybe someday I'll get AK Legion. I don't know. Anyway.
One day, yeah. The more buff duration characters you have, the more valuable scaling Legion all the way up to 9 and 9.5k even is. So like Ice Lightning, Dark Knight, Kaiser, Bishop, Fire Poison, like all of those. Really, really like buff duration. Love it.
Okay, I feel like this was very successful.
Yeah. I think we got through all of them.
Got a lot of good info out of it. Thank you, and also happy birthday.
Thank you.
Belated.
Still
I hope it was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, you know where to find all the other information, right? And if there's any follow-up, you can always reach out in chat. You know where to find me.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good luck. I'll see you around.
Yeah. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Cool. So yeah, a little bit different than normal. A lot more characters in there. Different characters, but also different approach. More like direct advice on all of them. Less general, great overall arcing advice. But there's definitely some things that I've seen people kind of maybe not miss, but not emphasize as much when it comes to getting boss mules down. It's really about that Legion, familiars, reinforced Golics, base symbols, get them in a guild. Try to get at least 2 maxed skills in a guild with them. Organize with your guild, organize with your alliance, set up a boss mule guild, throw all of your characters in there and help each other out. Do as much flag and culvert as you can. You can get to 2 max skills pretty quickly if you have enough people in there who are committed. And that extra damage just takes away so much funding that you need to do on that character. 30% crit damage and 30% damage are huge. It does last for half an hour, so you can overlap them. And all of that money that you save funding the character can go either into another boss mule or can go back into your main where it wants to go in the first place. So definitely try to hit those boxes if you're trying to fund your boss mules. Yes. All right. Well, I hope you liked this session. I hope there was at least something in there that you didn't know yet, or something that advised you or put it in the right perspective, whatever. If you want one of these sessions as well, make sure you check the description of the video or use the coaching command, like that, coaching command over in the Twitch chat. That and all the other resources that I guess we didn't use except for this one and this one. But all the other resources have 200 more commands just like that with a lot of information on it. You can find all of this over at the Twitch chat as well. That's always available, not behind a paywall or anything, so feel free to use all of that. It's a huge game though, and things change a lot, so some of the stuff might be outdated here and there. I do my best to keep everything up to date. If you see something that you think is out of date, you have any question, or you saw a different piece of advice somewhere else, let me know, and we can look at it, make sure that it's not just a nuance difference, but it's an actual best in slot difference or an actual advice difference. Maybe something has changed, so apologize in advance if anything is not 100% correct. Yeah, other than that, I will thank you guys for watching. Thanks for checking out the YouTube video. Check another one right here. There's about 400 of these sessions available now. Some of them are very old, of course, so they won't be as won't be as relevant anymore. They might be talking about events that aren't currently ongoing and stuff like that. But yeah, today, last day of the event. Make sure you pick everything up before reset. Although this video might go out on YouTube after the fact. So hopefully you bought all of the stuff from. You don't have to buy everything from the shop yet, but hopefully picked everything up in the UI of the event right here. I guess the people watching in the chat right now as well. Make sure you pick up all of this stuff here and this beautiful medal here before today's reset. And yeah, I'll see you either on the next video or I see you live at twitch.tv/Scardor. Thanks for checking it out. Bye. Cool. Wait. If you want to win one of these sessions with me, if you shut off the video now, already, you lost. If you want to win one of these sessions with me, make sure you leave a comment saying that you would like to win with your Discord name, and I'll reach out to you. I give away 2 sessions every month, so if you stayed until this part of the video, you have a higher chance of winning for this one, okay? Good luck. All right, bye.